everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video we're going to be using some Taylor Expression sentiment strips. We're going to ink them out and heat emboss on black, and then we're also going to stamp it in black Versaclear ink on white, and we're going to punch them out. And I'm actually going to use the new die that I got from them that creates basically like a matte piece that the sentiment strip can sit on top of. So that's one of the things we're going to be working on today. I've already pre-treated my black paper using the EK Success tool, the powder tool, and then I inked it once, pushed it back in, make sure it's flush up against the side of the MISTI, and then stamped it again so I have nice coverage, and it would have enough Versamark ink on there for the embossing powder to attach to. And I'm using the Brutus Monroe Alabaster White embossing powder. And if you ever have little stragglers, because sometimes stuff still sticks, just you could grab a brush and just kind of, wipe at or clear out the area that was, where you don't want that powder to stick. And then I'm going to set that off to the side. I'm going to go ahead and pour that back in and throw away the coffee filter. And then we're going to ink up, like I said, using that Versaclear. And I like Versaclear. Versaclear is very similar to VersaFine in its quality, so you can stamp it generally once and it's really good coverage. And that's true for your clear stamps or your rubber stamps. Like this one right here, I've pressed down, rubbing back and forth a couple of times, and when I lift it up, it's perfect. And so we'll get to cutting those pieces out. And with the Taylor Expression stamps, definitely make sure you ink up the squares on the sides, because those are going to be important when you go to use their die, their coordinating die, which will help cut out the strips nice and even, and everything will be centered and, perfect. All right, so I'm just going to put this back into its packaging real quick. I actually need to get some more sleeves so I can, because I got a bunch of new stamps and I need to put them in some sleeves and label them. All right, so here are our strips. This is the die that I was talking about, and I'm just gonna wind up taking some washi tape, and I'm going to tape down on one side, and then we're going to line this up, trying to make sure it's as even as possible. All right, and we're going to grab, I had to bring out the Mammoth, and I'm going to tell you why in a little bit, but I got my Grand Caliber, and I'm going to try and attach this to the glass mat, which is what I'm doing right there. And then at this point I was like, oh, I forgot to heat emboss the black one, but that's okay. So what I'm gonna do is just I'm gonna run this through so I can get my white pieces done, and then I'll heat emboss the black, and we'll cut that out too. And you can see, I mean, it's super easy. It cuts like butter. And I'm gonna pop the strips out. Boop, boop, boop. All right. So that's how quick you can get your sentiment steps. And there's so many sentiments and things like that they have. I am going to come back in 1 second. Okay. I wanted to heat emboss off camera because you guys have seen me do it before. I didn't want it to be any longer than it has to be this video. So I'm struggling here because my Grand Caliber loosened up. So I'm gonna finish what is that word? Cranking this through. I'm like, wow. My brain went crazy. And I'm just gonna lay that flat because it's all together, and because I want to show you guys this. This is the backer die. Okay. This die set will create the matte pieces for the sentiment strips, okay? And you can see how long this is. I was going to use my Cuttlebug, but it's too long, this die itself. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. I'm going to tape down the die set on here. There's nothing to line up on this one because it's just cutting out plain paper. So it's not like you have to worry about the making sure your words and stuff like that is even in the spacing and all that. You're just cutting out the strips. So once I get it in, I'm going to crank it through. And I will say this part does take a little bit with this one because it's hard, and you can hear it makes a weird like clicking noise. And if you're new to die cutting, you'd probably freak out, but just keep going. It's gonna make noise. It's gonna be all right. So these are the black strips that are gonna go with the white sentiment strips that we first cut out. And then we're going to do it one more time using the white paper. I'm just going to real quick. And I'm the type, because of the lack of space in my craft room, a lot of times when I pull out a die cutting machine of any sort, I try to maximize the time I have it out, so that way I can get other stuff. Like I got this triangle piece that I cut. I ran that through a die cut 3 times to get 3 pieces for that. I also did a happy birthday sentiment that I'm going to put together for use later. And then I'm going to zoom in here so you can see. So that's how the mat works with the sentiment strip, and it just lines up perfectly. I mean, they were really ingenious with that. I love how these come together. I really do. And they just make them quick and easy. You do a background, really pretty watercolor, and you just want to put a sentiment on it real quick because the background is the focal image. These are truly great. So right now, I keep all my extras in a Ziploc bag, but I'm going to go through and put all of these together, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to actually do a card for you guys. All right, so I'll be right back. And I'll show you everything done. So underneath my distress inks are all my labels that I put together. And I decided that I wanted to do some ink on the black paper. So I'm just going to lay down some mowed lawn. I use peacock feathers. And at first I started with chipped sapphire, but I do wind up changing that to stormy sky. And I only did that because the chipped sapphire, though it is a pretty blue, it was too dark on the black. So for this purpose, the stormy sky was a better choice. So that way they would have some standing out. So I'm just inking up the stripes. And that's where I checked it and was like, it's a little too dark. It's really hard to see. Even me sitting here up close on it, it was really hard to see. So I'm just going to wipe off my brush real quick and grab some of the stormy sky. Wipe off some of the other color because I don't want it to get all like contaminated and stuff. So that's why I had to wipe down some of the stencil. And then there's our colors. All right, so I'm just going to wipe down. Here were the 3 triangle pieces I talked about earlier. I got this from Simon Says Stamp. And this one is a fun die cut really to use for more masculine cards. Because, you know, a lot of times I love coloring in all the flowers and stuff like that, which I guess would be considered more girly cards or whatever. But if you want something that's nondescript, definitely go for more geometric shapes, you know, with the stripes and the triangles. You could do circles, you could do all kinds of stuff, and it just lends itself to I guess being more masculine just because it's not very frou-frou-y, you know what I mean? So you could really use it for a girl or a guy, but it just has a more, to me, a masculine side of it. So I wanted to use this to create a birthday card that I'm probably going to wind up giving to my dad because his birthday is coming up this weekend. And I just wanted to have something that was going to stand up off of, you know, the striped background we created. And by using the 3 pieces of paper, it gives it a nice thickness, which I did take a shot on an angle at the end for you guys to see kind of the thickness of it, because you could have just cut one and that would have been fine, but I really liked how it turned out. So I think I'm going to go with the smaller one and just put it right below the triangle piece. I was thinking you could put it on top of the actual triangles. I didn't mind it there, but I don't know. I just like the image of the triangle, the piece that we're putting on, and I want it to be the focal image, not the sentiment going across it. So I just like that better. And then I'm going to put the sentiment right underneath of it. And I'm going to pop that up using some foam strips, also from Tailored Expressions. And we're just going to cut that and then add a little bit more. I think I wound up having to trim that. Yep, I did. And then there you go. It wanted to fight me today. And then once it's on, I'm going to go ahead and take the backing off and attach it as even right on the front. And now I'm going to grab, I was thinking about putting it on white paper, but I think I want to have an 1/8 of an inch white paper underneath, like bigger, you know, a matte piece. So I decided to use black cardstock for my card base, and I'm scoring at 4 1/4. So this is 5 1/2 by 8 and, yeah, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and then I'm going to score at 4 1/4. And then we're going to, it was a little off just by a little bit, so I just had to like rescore it. And I always flip it inside out a few times and just really try and get a nice crease, especially when the card's a little bit thicker. And then we're going to do that right there. And as I start to put my tape down using my tape runner, I pulled up the washi tape. So it's okay though. It didn't hurt anything on the other side, so I'm just going to keep it moving. ATG tape or tape runner, art glitter glue, and we're going to put this down, which gives us time to kind of move stuff and get it nice and even. And then we're going to do it again and attach it to the card, which I think I almost put it on upside down. I've done that before. All right, see, oh, yep, turn it around. All right. And then once we have it down, I am going to do something I normally don't do. For black cards, you could leave it black and just write in it with a white, you know, jelly pen or the Signo pens. But for this one, I'm just going to make it easier for myself. I cut down a piece of paper that's 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to tape it up, glue it up, and put it right on the inside, giving me a space that I can write my message to my recipient or stamp a sentiment inside if I wanted to. So I'm going to leave it blank for today's video. But there you have it. And all it says is happy birthday to you. And then this was another one that I was going to do. I cut out 3 happy birthdays, and they were going to sit on top of sort of like this outline piece. Make it easier. See how it says happy birthday, and then, you know, have it give it dimension there. But I'm just showing you the dies real quick, also from Simon Says. But I decided to go with the strips from Tailored Expressions, and I really do like how this one turned out. Nice and simple. It would make for a really nice card to give to somebody. And like I said, you have that white paper on the inside, so that way you can write down your sentiment. So thank you guys for joining me today. This one was chock full of stuff I had to stripes, the die cuts, all kinds of stuff. We just had fun. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share button. And here are some videos from previous technique videos. Take a look at them if you haven't seen them. And I will see you guys with our next video.